Traditionally, we have been conditioned to think anything which is difficult, and if somebody does it, it is excellent. For example, somebody who qualifies for JEE with flying colors, IIT entrance exam, we say that the boy and girl is excellent. Why? It is so difficult. Consider for once what is the purpose of that difficulty. Does it get used anywhere, whatever that difficulty level has been created, or is it just to beat the competition? So the sense of purpose is somehow going out of the window, and it is just the difficulty which is considered as excellent. It is job of teachers to make difficult easy. It is their teaching skill. How do they make a difficult subject look easy? But consultants, on the other hand, do the reverse. They make the easy thing look very difficult by making it look very formal, throw in preferably imported jargon, give references which are esoteric from some literature. That is the way to flaunt that, yes, maybe I have read those things you have not read. Though the context, the communication which is coming through is maybe very simple. It may be sheer common sense, nothing more than that. But it is made to look difficult, it is made to look very elaborate. A lot of sophistry gets thrown in, but that's their bread and butter. One of my bosses used to say that a design is excellent if it looks good, and he applied that even to his subordinates. If a person is looking good, he will assume that he will do the job excellently. Once I countered him and asked me what is the relation of person's looks with what he will deliver. Now he said, in engineering terms, he said something which is proportionate is bound to work. Something which looks complex, something which looks disproportionate will probably not deliver effectively. So from engineering point of view, simplicity is the virtue. It should be easy, it should be simple, it should be effective, it should be efficient, it should be proportionate. Probably it will work also well.
What is excellence?
Well, excellence has something to do with the performance. Excellence of a system, excellence of a product, excellence of a person, excellence of artist depends on the KPIs or the performance measures, what it is supposed to do. Now there are elements in excellence. One is, of course, if you talk of something to do with the user, it has to be user friendly, it has to be liked by the user, it has to satisfy the user. Okay. On the other hand, of course, talking of efficiency part of it, if it is a system, if it is a mechanism, it has to be efficient, has to be energy efficient, it has to be resource efficient, and it has to be effective above all. Now, effectiveness is something which is generally very subjective. Effectiveness is not like a ratio, output upon input, like efficiency is. That's a little difficult to define. Quality in engineering terms, we say Six Sigma, Sigma level, CP, CPK. Now all those are depending on specific metrics. Okay. So exceeding the expectation of whatever was the expectancy out of the system is excellent. Basically, excellent means better than others. Okay. So whatever others, meaning competitors, have been doing, if it is a level above that in terms of performance, it is excellent. So something which excels others is excellent. Strictly speaking, that is the definition. So excellent art form means something which is unexpectedly liked by the end user, liked by the consumer. Some product which is exceptionally liked is excellent. Okay. It is like should have some delight factor. Okay. So which delights the customer. It's not what the customer expects, because that is barely meeting the norm. If you are far exceeding that expectancy, you can say that that is excellent. Okay. So excellence is doing pioneering work, something that nobody has done before, something, that performance which nobody has achieved before, obviously is excellent. Okay. So that's the definition of excellence. That's what is meant by excellence. And that's what excellence ought to be.
How would you describe the relationship between difficulty and excellence?
Well, traditionally, rightly or wrongly, the notion which has been set is that whatever is difficult is excellent. Okay. So excelling others in terms of performance or expectancy is one part. But something which is more difficult, like climbing Mount Everest is difficult, so somebody who climbs Mount Everest has done excellent work. Okay. Now there, what is the purpose is not considered. It is just that it was difficult and a difficult feat has been achieved. So traditionally we are thinking that we have been conditioned to think like that anything which is difficult and if somebody does it, it is excellent. And it applies to all the domains, cutting across domains. For example, a sculptor makes a sculpture which is very difficult to make, either by way of its huge size or intricacy or ornate design or color combination or whatever. Something which is very difficult to achieve is said to be excellent. Some dance movement which is very difficult to do humanly is excellent, is regarded as excellent. Okay. So somehow, rightly or wrongly, this notion has been set that whatever is difficult is excellent. Although, yes, many times to achieve excellence is difficult, but it doesn't mean that anything which is difficult is excellent. Because there we lose the sight of the purpose, sense of purpose, sense of performance, what for we want to do it, what was the purpose, what was the expectancy. The visibility of that is lost, and what is considered is only the difficulty level. For example, let us say somebody who qualifies for JEE with flying colors, IIT entrance exam, we say that the boy and girl is excellent. Why? It is so difficult. But consider for once what is the purpose of that difficulty. Does it get used anywhere, whatever that difficulty level has been created, or is it just to beat the competition? So mostly it is just to beat the competition. Okay. So the sense of purpose is somehow going out of the window. And it is just the difficulty which is considered as excellent.
What alternative criteria other than difficulty would you propose to measure excellence?
It depends on what we are talking about. For example, if you are talking of dance form or management, okay, it was formerly said, was considered that effortless dancing and effortless management is a virtue. It is excellence. How effortlessly somebody can do something. If you put in a lot of energy, lot of resources, you can still do it, but then somewhere you are losing out on efficiency part. You have to exert a lot to achieve something. Okay, that's not elegant. So excellence is something which is done with least effort, consuming least resources, which is sustainable from environmental point of view, which does least damage to the environment. All those factors, if you consider as part of excellence, it makes sense. Okay. So something which is efficient, which is effective, which is liked by people, which pleases people, okay, is excellent. Now, if you see classical music, not just Indian classical music, any classical music of traditional thing, most of those tunes which were considered as great and excellent have alternation of high pitch, low pitch, high pitch, low pitch, or somebody stretches his vocal so much, that sor and tal, which is difficult to achieve humanly. So again, the consideration was that whatever is difficult to do by anybody, if somebody does it, it is excellent. But if you consider the idea of whether the listener is liking it, whether it is soothing, whether it is pleasing, whether the listener gets into right mood after listening that, if we apply all those considerations, yes, those are the cofactors, at least the cofactors for what should be regarded as excellent, not just the difficulty level. Because what has happened in music, for example, now with the electronic synthesizer, you can produce any frequency, any sound, you can stretch it howsoever you want. So gone are those criteria of stretching your throat or vocals or having breathless songs and stuff like that. Those considerations have gone. Similarly, the kind of musical instruments which are available today with electronic synthesizing versus what were earlier there, the instruments had limitations. So something which is exceeding the fidelity or the range of an instrument, if somebody plays it like that, you consider it as excellent. Okay. But nowadays with technology, that is easily possible. So now that it becomes easily possible, it is no longer considered as excellent. And consequently, now the paradigm has shifted. Now that you see today's dance form, they put in a lot of energy. That effortless part has gone. The intricacy part has gone. The coordination part of has gone. The fact that dancer is able to shake a single muscle at a time, a single finger at a time. Can you do it? Can anybody do it without training? That is difficult. So if somebody is able to do it, you consider it as excellent. But end of the day, whether it is pleasing, whether it is appealing to the customer or the end user or the person who is appreciating that music is the question. Whether it has a soothing effect, whether it has positive effect, whether it induces positive vibes. Yes, all those factors have to come in excellence.
How might changing our perception of excellence affect the field of architecture or literature?
Well, in architecture, formerly the difficult is excellent, that was the notion. So you see buildings which are inordinately huge. Does it have to be huge? From engineering point of view, is the end purpose is to make it huge, or it is just for claiming that yes, it is excellent, it is outstanding, so you make it tall. So in Western world, I mean, you see all those spires of churches, they used to be made very difficult, very tall, very slender, difficult to produce, difficult to make. And yes, those were considered as excellent. Now, in India, the buildings were very, very ornamental, having lot of sculpture, lot of carvings, lot of pillars. Now, for example, you see some reference of some temple having some 1,000 pillars. Now, they may be very good piece of art, but from engineering point of view, why do you require 1,000 pillars to support a roof? Okay, if somebody applies engineering sense, so what is the purpose? The purpose is to support a roof. Okay. Now, if you consider it just as a pure piece of sculpture or art, probably it will pass off. But as engineering feat, no one has to say. Apply some engineering sense. And in light of that, in light of expectancy, is it still excellent? Because lot of resources must have been consumed, lot of time must have gone, lot of energy must have gone. So, was it commensurate with the end result and effectiveness? Because in engineering, we talk of efficiency, we talk of effectiveness, we talk of customer appeal, end user appeal. Okay. So, okay, end users in India have been, India and elsewhere also, have been conditioned to believe that whatever is difficult is excellent. For example, there is a Guinness Book of Record. What do they record? Somebody grows a mustache beyond limit, which nobody has done. The question is, what is the purpose? Is it just because something which nobody has done, something which is difficult, somebody does, so you commend that person, you could recognize that as a excellent feat. Okay. Now, is that excellence? Should that ought to be excellence? So all those records are, meaningless. Somebody eating a lot, somebody smoking a lot, somebody, so by no stretch. If it is sportsmanship, one can still understand. If it is a sports record, one can still understand. But then look at the list of Guinness Book records. What kind of records are those? So one has to question, what is the purpose? Okay. And is the excellence something to do with the purpose, or it is just difficult is excellent?
How does the tendency to equate difficult with excellent influence our educational system?
Why there is a mad rush for IITs and IIMs entrance exam and appearing for civil services? One thing which is common between all these entrance tests, which are that they are difficult. They are all difficult to achieve. So the fact that they are difficult to achieve, it is given that somebody who cracks it is excellent, and whatever that fellow will achieve, therefore, will be excellent. That is the postulate. That because somebody has cracked a difficult exam, it is expected that he will, whatever he will do thereafter will be excellent. But it's an assumption. It doesn't happen like that. Isn't it? So the education system is influenced that subjects are made to look difficult by throwing in a lot of maths, as I always say. So that they look more formal, they look more formidable, they look more difficult, and so that kids throw themselves up and they study hard. But what is the purpose? Is that ever going to be used in their professional life? The answer is probably not. So then why we are throwing in just the difficulty in front of them so that they surmount it and they think they have done excellent, whereas they have not done. Excellence is something else. And that they realize much later in life, that whatever they have struggled in their academics, whatever they have achieved, is far from excellent. So that gives a setback in later age of life. And they realize that whatever they heretofore they felt was excellent is not taking them anywhere. Okay. And real excellence is something else.
What are they robbed of with this pursuit of difficulty and excellence?
No, they fail to define the excellence for themselves objectively. What is excellence for them and what they should be pursuing in light of what they expect and what others expect of them. Okay. Now what others expect of them is very simple. Parents tell them, "Bhai, exam crack kar lo and you are through." So that is the kind of wrong target which has been given to them. And they are told that if you do that, then you are excellent, then you will do excellent. But then later they find that that is nowhere near excellence. So considering the effect on literature, we see that people cook up word salad in the name of literature. They toss in very heavy and profound looking substance into their work. So ideas and expressions are profound unduly, and you have flowery language, difficult language for anybody. Okay. So the literature has an example where the language was very difficult and even the ideas were very profound. Though whether they served the purpose or not, is not so much questioned. If the purpose is to reach the masses, of course they fail to reach the masses. Okay. So it is also a question of that what for you are doing it. If it is only a cerebral exercise, maybe it is excellent. But then the literature is not just cerebral exercise, it has to have some other purpose also.
What impact does the association between difficulty and excellence have on our work culture, particularly in relation to consultants?
Well, it is job of teachers to make difficult easy. So it is their teaching skill. How do I make a difficult subject look easy? But consultants, on the other hand, do the reverse. They make the easy thing look very difficult by making it look very formal, use jargon, throw in preferably imported jargon, give references which are esoteric from some literature. Okay, that is the way to flaunt that, yes, maybe I have read those things you have not read. That's the message it communicates. Though the context, the communication which is coming through is maybe very simple. It may be sheer common sense, nothing more than that. But it is made to look difficult, it is made to look very elaborate. A lot of sophistry gets thrown in. But that's their bread and butter. So that's what they do. They make things look difficult so that it is treated as excellent. Because that's their market value. Okay. Now for teachers, of course, it's their job to make difficult easy. So that's what they do. But yes, while making the curriculum, the boys and girls should take it seriously. They should think that the subject is difficult. So what they make is something which looks difficult. It doesn't look common sense. It doesn't look easy. It looks a little challenging. So that some sincerity comes and some drive comes and people focus more. But that's the purpose. So yes, lot of difficult has been regarded as excellent. The suitability for purpose is what takes a back seat. What was the purpose? Whether it is efficiently achieved, whether it is effectively achieved, whether it is achieved with least effort, and whether it is liked by all concerned. Whether the end user, whether the doer is liking it. Now in maintenance, there is another rule which we used to follow since I have been a maintenance man. Something which is difficult probably means that you are not doing it the right way. Because in engineering, nobody would design things to be difficult. Things have to be user friendly, maintenance friendly, so they should be easy. So something which is looking inordinately difficult, it only implies that probably you are approaching it in wrong way. Or you are not having the right tools, or the right knowledge, or the right approach, or the right competence. Something is mismatching. Therefore, it is appearing to be difficult. In engineering also, one of my bosses used to say that a design is excellent if it looks good. And he applied that even to his subordinates. If a person is looking good, he will assume that he will do the job excellently. So once I countered him and asked me what is the relation of the person's looks with what he will deliver. Now he said, in engineering terms, he said something which is proportionate is bound to work effectively. Something which looks complex, something which looks disproportionate will probably not deliver effectively. That was based on his years of experience. And probably he was right. So from engineering point of view, simplicity is a virtue. It should be easy, it should be simple, it should be effective, it should be efficient. It should be proportionate. It should not look lopsided, it should not look disproportionate. If all these criteria are there, probably it will work also well.
Could you elaborate on the implications of our current perception of excellence for the youth?
Yeah. Talking of youth, I have seen young boys going in a restaurant with his dad. And when he is asked to select a dish, he looks at the right hand side. And on left hand side, he looks at the description which nobody is likely to know what it is. And on right hand side, whatever appears to be costliest. He will insist on ordering that. At the back of mind, the thought is that yes, this seems relatively unknown, it is difficult to buy, it is costly, so hopefully it will be excellent. So that's the notion of excellent. He will order some stray thing which he will himself not know what is that, what does that dish mean. But that's what will be the choice. So also when they would buy a music system, when they buy a computer, when they buy a software, anywhere, they will try to buy something which looks outlandish, something which looks exotic, which looks expensive, and which looks difficult to afford. Okay. So the question is, what is the purpose? What for you are buying or ordering this item? Okay. So the excellence is misplaced. Former days it was difficult to import something, and imported stuff was prohibitively costly. So anything which was imported was regarded as excellent, and anything which was homegrown and developed locally was treated with disdain. Okay, that was again a misplaced notion of excellence, that whatever is difficult for me to buy is excellent. Okay, so if a lawyer's fees is so much, and you are taking his services, you believe that that is excellent. So something which is difficult to reach, something which is difficult to touch, something which is difficult to approach is regarded as excellent. It is difficult to get visa to go to US, so going to US is excellent. Now why one wants to go is beside the point. But just because it is difficult, if it is achieved, people will comment that yes, it is a great achievement, it is excellent. So anything that is difficult to achieve is excellent for me. If it is difficult for somebody to get selected into, let us say, chartered accountants training, it will be treated as excellent. If somebody qualifies, fine. The question to be asked is, does that person have flair for that kind of work? Has the person considered that how this career will suit me or not? Because excellence has to come from there, the end effectiveness, the end use. It's not just that because it is difficult to go there, so it is excellent. Formerly, our tirthals which are there, it was pretty difficult to go to some of those places. Even today, some of them are difficult to go. But those are considered as excellent achievement if somebody is able to go. But what about the places of worship which are easily accessible locally? Does one consider them as excellent if one goes there? No. Now, I have heard even arguments that going to a shrine in a helicopter does not give you enough punya unless you scale the climb. It is difficult. Some tapasya is required to achieve that. Therefore, then it becomes excellent if you do that way. That was the kind of notion. So anything that can be done easily is not excellent. Anything that is done with great difficulty is excellent. Now this is somehow an argument which does not appeal the engineering sense.
Finally, could you share your thoughts on the acid test for excellence?
It has to serve the purpose well. Well meaning exceeding the performance. Exceeding the performance meaning efficient. Should require less input for more output. If you can achieve more for less, that is excellent. If you have to slog more to achieve so much, it's probably not excellent. Right? So how easy, how user-friendly it is, how pleasing it is, what kind of positive vibes it is bringing in, all these are, according to me, the considerations for excellence. And of course, it has to be having some novelty, something which is not often done by many. Okay. But above that is the purpose. What is the end purpose? Whether it is able to achieve the end purpose better than other ways. If it can achieve the end purpose better than through other means, then yes, that way is excellent. That approach is excellent. So excellence is about approach, not so much about the product. It has to do with performance, it has to do with application. Well, with this, we have come to the end of today's talk. Please take this movement forward. Please share it with your friends. Open Mind is an engineer's workshop, and our goal is to engineer our future. Please press the bell icon to get further notifications. Please like if you have liked the talk, and please do let us have your feedback, your ideas, your comments, your suggestions. Hope to see you in the next talk, Technocrat Talks. Till then, be happy, enjoy. See you next time. Bye-bye.